This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to Carvana. Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
You are entering the realm between the hidden and forgotten, a slipstream caught between realities, a secret museum of the esoteric, the private library of shadows, all taking place in a world forged from mystery and caught between logic and myth. You are entering ParaReality.
Hello, and welcome to the mysterious world of ParaReality, a reality where the unknown meets the unexplained, and everything is a mystery. I'm Sandman, and I am your host. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of ParaReality, where we dive deep into the mysterious, the unexplained, and the paranormal. Tonight, we're exploring a phenomenon that has both baffled scientists and inspired spiritual seekers across the globe. It's called the third man syndrome. Now, I want you to imagine this. You're trapped on a mountain. You're buried under rubble. You're facing what seems like, I would say, would be certain death. And then suddenly, someone is there with you. You can't see them, but you can feel them. Sometimes you can even hear them. They encourage you. They guide you. They lead you to safety. But when all the dust settles and everything is clear, no one else remembers seeing this person, and you realize that you were alone the entire time. Tonight, we'll explore real-life accounts, scientific theories, and paranormal possibilities. We'll ask, is this unseen presence a hallucination born from extreme stress? Or could it be something more? A guardian angel, a spirit guide, or some kind of manifestation of higher power? So settle in, turn down the lights, and prepare to journey with me into the heart of the third man mystery. After all, tonight, you're not alone. And as always, to learn more, you'll have to turn on, tune in, and find out. But it is time to welcome some new followers of the podcast. I always take a moment to welcome some followers, so thank you for following Kevin Lee, Lee Reagan, and Sky Mysteries. Thank you all three for the follow. That's Kevin Lee, Lee Reagan, and Sky Mysteries. You know, I've got somewhere around pretty close to 3,000 followers now. So if you're listening to this podcast and you don't follow me on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, then shame on you. You need to do that so you can be a regular follower. And if you are a regular follower and you listen to this podcast and you don't follow me on the socials, then shame on you for that as well, because I think you really need to. So please be sure to follow me on the socials. I think that you'll find that this podcast differs from others like it by offering a different point of view from the norm. What I do is take the evidence and I just simply present it to you and let you, the listener, make up your own mind and encourage you to do your own research. And if you don't follow me on the socials, like I said, please do that. It's where you can keep up with all the latest goings on with what's happening with ParaReality, as well as you get a little tiny teensy glimpse into my personal life. And I'll be giving you all the deets on how you can do that later on in the podcast. But before I do anything else, got to announce the news. And if you've listened to the podcast for the last 3 or 4 episodes, you know what's coming. That's right, the ParaReality podcast is making its debut appearance at the Tennessee Wildman Encrypted Con this August, and I couldn't be more excited to be there. So mark your calendars. It's on Saturday, August the 16th, 2025, at the Milner Recreation Center in McMinnville, Tennessee. Now, this is a full day packed with guest speakers, experiencers, and experts covering everything from Bigfoot to Dogman, UFOs, and a whole lot more. It's a strange, if it's unexplained, if it's lurking in the woods, if it's somewhere in the shadows, if it's behind that door, you'll hear about it here. And that's not all. There's a massive vendor hall featuring all the cryptid theme merch you could ever want. Plus, there'll be local food trucks galore there to help keep you fueled while you explore and listen to all the great lectures that are going on. So I'll be there with a ParaReality table and all my gear ready to meet you, the listener, face to face. If you are going to the Tennessee Wildman Encrypted Con in McMinnville in August, and you've had some sort of unusual experience, whether it's mysterious or just downright creepy, come find me at the ParaReality table, share your story, and there's a good chance that that's going to end up on the podcast. I've done something very similar a couple of times at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. I've set up at my local physical media store, Danger Zone Video. Shout out to Jesse at Danger Zone for having me, and always get some good turnouts, and I get some really good stories. So if you're going to be there at the Tennessee Wildman Encrypted Con, please come find me and tell me your story. Just come hang out, talk with me, and be a part of the ParaReality community in person. Even if you don't have a story, just come by and say hi. I just ask that your story be true as far as you know it, and have happened to either you or someone directly that you know. I don't want any third and fourth hand stuff. I want something that happened to you, or maybe it happened directly to somebody that you know, a family member or something like that, that they told you and you can tell me. So like I said, come hang out with me and just say hey, even if you don't have a story to tell. I'd love to meet you guys. If you want to go, the event details and tickets and all that, just go to Tennessee Wildman Encrypted Con page on Facebook. They don't have a website, they just have a Facebook page. It's the Tennessee Wildman Encrypted Con page on Facebook, and you can search it up and you can get your passes now. They're selling out fast, so you want to hurry up and make sure that you get a chance to go. Like I said, it's on Saturday, August the 16th at the Milner Recreation Center in McMinnville, Tennessee. So until then, stay curious, and I'll see you in the shadows.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. And as your vacation maximizationer, I'm going to make sure you hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Let's get real close. Maximum apple. Now that's fresh crispimization. Maximum waffle. Hear that crunch. And that's maximum coffee. Oh yeah, that's the pour I'm talking about. Breakfast maximized before hitting the road. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
ParaReality is a proud member of the Evergreen Podcast Network. For more information or to check out other shows on the network, please visit evergreenpodcast.com.
Broadcast from a secret bunker somewhere outside of Nashville, Tennessee. This is the award-winning podcast, ParaReality.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So let's get right into it. And let's start by understanding what exactly third man syndrome is. The term was first popularized by author John Geiger in his book, The Third Man Factor. It describes situations where people in extreme stress or life-threatening environments report sensing an invisible presence that offers them comfort, guidance, and sometimes even life-saving instructions. Now, this isn't the same as your everyday gut feeling or your feeling of intuition. Survivors describe it as something that's tangible, a being that walks beside them, whispers to them, and sometimes even physically touches them. Geiger collected dozens of these accounts, and what's fascinating is that they occur across cultures, ages, professions, and belief systems. It doesn't matter if the person is religious, spiritual, or atheist, or whatever religion that they practice. It's a phenomenon that doesn't discriminate. So is this a quirk of some type of human psychology? Is it a spiritual intervention, or could it be something else entirely? So to begin unpacking this mystery, let's revisit the story that first brought this phenomenon into public consciousness. So the most famous early account of the third man phenomena comes from Sir Ernest Shackleton, the legendary Antarctic explorer. In his harrowing journey across South Georgia Island, Shackleton and his two surviving crew members, they trekked about 36 hours across treacherous mountains and glaciers to find rescue. And Shackleton wrote a memoir called South, and in it he said, during that long and racking march of 36 hours over the unnamed mountains and glaciers of South Georgia, it seemed to me often that we were 4, not 3. And he wasn't alone in that feeling. His companions reported the same sense of an additional presence walking among them, unseen, but undeniably real, a tangible presence that was among them. This experience even inspired poet T.S. Eliot to reference it in his famous work, The Wasteland. And Eliot wrote, "Who is the third who walks always beside you?" But Shackleton's story isn't a unique one. For example, take Joe Simpson. His survival story was immortalized in the book and the subsequent movie, Touching the Void. Now, what happened was, after Simpson fell into a crevasse and breaking his leg while climbing in the Peruvian Andes, Simpson dragged himself back to camp over several days despite being near death from exposure and his injury. And he later described hearing a voice that gave him step-by-step instructions, encouraging him to keep moving and guiding him to safety. He said the voice was separate from his own thoughts that were going on in his head. It wasn't his inner monologue, in other words, right? He said that it felt like someone else entirely. And then there's another story of Ron DeFrancisco, one of the last people to escape the South Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. Now, Ron was trapped, and he was surrounded by a lot of fire, a lot of smoke, as you can imagine, and he reportedly heard a male voice urging him to get up and move, get up and move. And even though he couldn't see anyone, he listened to this voice, and he got up and he moved, and that decision saved his life. And there are countless other cases that mirror these three stories. James Sevigny, an avalanche survivor in Canada, described a presence that communicated telepathically with him, telling him not to give up. There are even lesser known but equally eerie accounts, like the man who fell while hiking and was comforted by a little girl who kept him company. And only later did he find out that there was no child that was ever reported missing in the area. And the consistency of these experiences is just downright chilling. These presences seem to appear at the exact moment of desperation, always offering help, but never harm. But who or what are they? For those of us who believe there's more to this world than what science can currently explain, third man syndrome raises some tantalizing possibilities. Could these be guardian angels? Some survivors describe their unseen companions as feeling loving, protective, and even sacred. Religious traditions across the world have stories of angels appearing to guide people through danger, and others believe these are spirit guides, that they're entities that stay with us throughout our lives, only revealing themselves when we are at our most vulnerable. And still others suggest that these presences are ancestral spirits, maybe the lingering energy of those who've passed away, but they continue to watch over us like a family type thing, a protection type thing. And then there are the more radical theories. Could the third man be some sort of interdimensional being, one that exists just beyond our perceptual reality, one that steps in when the veil between the worlds grows thin? And when could the veil be much thinner than when you think you're about to die, or you feel like you're actively in the throes of dying? So could these entities be projections from parallel timelines, crossing over in moments of great need? Or maybe, just maybe, there's something that we can't even begin to categorize. But whatever they are, they seem to have one purpose, and that would be to save us. The question remains, are they real in the physical sense, or are they constructs of our own minds? And unfortunately, it's time for me to take a break and try to earn a little bit of money here. And when I come back, we'll talk about the scientific and psychological theories behind this phenomenon.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about the scientific and psychological theories behind this. Now, science has tried to offer explanations for third man syndrome, and while the theories are compelling, they leave a lot of room for mystery. Neurologists have discovered that stimulating the parieto-temporal junction of the brain can induce a sensation of a presence. Dr. Olaf Blank's experiments in Switzerland showed that by electrically stimulating this area of the brain, patients could report feelings that someone was standing behind them. Now, this suggests that the sensation of a presence might be a neurological response to extreme stress or disorientation. Other researchers say that the third man is just like a coping mechanism, a psychological survival tool, if you will. When the human brain's pushed to its absolute limits by things like extreme cold or starvation or exhaustion or even trauma, it might create an external guide to encourage survival. Let's look at hypoxia. Okay, everyone knows what hypoxia is. It's a lack of oxygen in the body. Okay, and when you get hypoxic and you stay that way for a little bit, you hallucinate things, or you can hallucinate things. Other things like low blood sugar, extreme isolation, and sensory deprivation can all cause the brain to misfire, and this can produce vivid sensations and even auditory hallucinations. You hear things, you see things. It's been recorded over and over and over again. But here's where it gets interesting. Many of these survivors remain convinced that the presence was real and not imaginary. The detail and consistency of their experiences challenge the idea that these are just simple hallucinations and that's it. There have even been cases where multiple people have reported the same presence simultaneously. Take mountaineers Wojtek Kurtaka and Robin Schauser on Glassenburn 4. They both reported feeling a guiding presence as they battled extreme cold and exhaustion. So were they sharing the same hallucination? There is such a thing as mass hallucination. I'm not a big proponent of it, but it is something that exists. Environmental factors might also play a role in this. Vic Tandy's work with infrasound, low-frequency sound waves that humans can't consciously hear, this showed that these frequencies can cause feelings of anxiety and cause chills and even cause the sensation of being watched. The Gansfield effect, a phenomenon where sensory deprivation can lead to vivid hallucinations, can also explain why some isolated individuals experience the third man. But none of these theories fully explain why these presences are consistently described as helpful, protective, and even life-saving. If these are just hallucinations, then why don't they ever lead people to harm? Why is it only just positive stuff? Why isn't it ever anything that's a negative? Because if you can hallucinate about anything, correct? Whether it's visual or auditory. So that takes us to these other theories and all these unanswered questions. So what are we left with here? Could the third man just be a spiritual entity, a psychological creation, or some sort of neurological glitch? Maybe it's one of those things. Maybe it's all of those things. Maybe it's a combination of those things, or maybe it's something that we just haven't discovered yet. Some researchers like John Geiger suggest that the third man might be a cultivated part of ourselves. It's a latent survival tool that we can train and develop even outside of life or death scenarios. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but I kind of like the idea that we have some sort of untapped survival resource within ourselves that we can train. And I don't know how we do it, how we train it, but I kind of like the idea that we have this latent sixth or seventh sense or latent consciousness in us that we can train to help us out in extreme situations where we think we may die or have bad harm caused to us. That's pretty interesting. Maybe these presences are manifestations of our higher selves, the parts of us that know exactly what we need to survive. They step forward, they step out only when we're ready to listen, And if you think you're going to die, you're in the World Trade Center when it collapses, or if you're out in the snow and you don't have any shelter and there's a snowstorm and you're on a mountain by yourself and you think this is it, maybe, we're ready to listen to whoever or whatever is going to say, hey, this is what you need to do to live, right? Because not too many people actually want to die. Now, perhaps these things are, well, I'm not going to say perhaps. I mean, we know that they're unexplainable, right? So what makes it only want to come out when we are just simply ready to listen? Why just when we're ready to listen? Why not guide us when we're trying to make other decisions? Should I get divorced from my wife? Something like that. And I do not want to get divorced from my wife. I'm just using that as an example. The possibilities are endless, and the mystery, it's going to remain unsolved, at least for the time being. So before we wrap it up tonight, I know this has been kind of a short episode, but I want to guide you through a brief exercise here. So I want you to do this. Close your eyes and picture yourself in a moment of great challenge, a moment when you feel truly alone. You got it? Are you doing it? Close your eyes. Picture yourself in that moment where you're going through some great life challenge. There's no one there to help you. You're all alone. Now, imagine a figure, male, female, whatever figure you want it to be. Imagine a figure stepping forward. You may or may not see their face, but you feel their presence. And this figure is calm. It's strong. It's supportive. This person, this being, this figure is here to guide you. Listen to what it's telling you. Feel its steadying hand on your shoulder. Know that you are not alone. Now, some people believe that by visualizing this presence regularly, we can tap into our own resilience and perhaps even welcome that guide into our everyday lives. But this is something you're going to have to do on a regular basis and not just every so often. Whether you call it the third man or guardian angel or simply your higher self, maybe the most important thing is this. When you need them the most, someone or something will be there. So tonight, my listeners, we've journeyed through chilling survival stories, neurological studies, spiritual possibilities, and what we found out is that no matter how alone we may feel, we're never truly alone. The third man walks with us, whether born from the mind or sent from beyond or from somewhere else. Their purpose seems clear: to keep us moving, to keep us alive. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Third Man Syndrome. I'm Sandman, and this has been the ParaReality Podcast. Until next time, keep your mind open because you never know who's walking beside you. So that about does it for tonight. Thanks for leaving. But before I close it out, here are a couple of more things for you guys.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
Okay, thanks for listening to that. Now, just before I close it out, I want to say I've got a new phone number for the podcast. For 20 years, I was using Skype, and I had this number. I loved it, 615-692-1170. Had it for 20 years. Unfortunately, Microsoft is no longer supporting Skype, and Skype has been shuttered. It doesn't work anymore, so I've had to get a new phone number. Unfortunately, I could not transfer that number over because it was a Skype number, so it wasn't a quote-unquote real number, I guess. So I've had to get a new phone number, and here it is, 615-492-4364. That number to call, once again, is 615-492-4364. That gets you right here to the secret bunker. And I'm always looking for stories to tell. Remember, I put a call out two or three episodes ago. If you've had some sort of unusual encounter with a UFO, whether you've seen it or maybe you think you've been abducted by one, maybe you've got some missing time, maybe you have a cool UFO story you want to tell, call the number. Here, the secret bunker, 615-492-4364. Leave me your message. Tell me your story. I think there's like a 3 or maybe 5 minute limit on the message. If you get cut off, call back, pick up where you left off. Okay? Don't leave me hanging. So the number to the secret bunker, once again, 615-492-4364. It's 24/7, 365. Call whenever you want. Leave me your message, even if it's just to say hi, or if you got a favorite episode, you want to tell me a story. You don't even have to be a UFO story. It could be whatever story you want to tell me. You want to say you suck? I've had people call and say that too. Whatever. Call 615-492-4364. Leave me your message. And as if there wasn't enough already, I want to let you know that I have relaunched my official Patreon page, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get commercial-free episodes of this podcast and other bonus content. And if you throw in just another couple of bucks, you can have access to my companion podcast, The Midnight Syndicate and Beyond Reality. Plus, you'll also have the ability to appear as a guest on the podcast, so that's pretty cool. Subscribing to my Patreon not only helps support this podcast, but it also helps me continue to bring you quality content on a regular basis. Now, you don't have to be a joiner. Like, I'm not a joiner. I don't like to join things. That's just how I've always been. But if you don't, if you're like, oh God, I don't know that I want to spend X number of dollars a month for this Yahoo. What if I don't like it? I don't even hardly like him now. What if I don't like his other stuff, right? Well, you're in luck because you can join for free for 7 days. And if you don't like the content, then you can cancel it, right? I've got loads of content on there already. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get the commercial-free version of this, plus a bunch of other bonus content. Excuse me. Like I said, there's also the ability to appear as a podcast guest. You can listen to my companion podcast, Midnight Syndicate and Beyond Reality. So I'm like most people. I've got a day job. I don't make my living by doing this. I intentionally keep this podcast small, and it costs me money. So every red cent that I make off of Patreon or merchandise or whatever it is goes right back into this podcast. I don't pocket a single penny out of this. So supporting the podcast by joining Patreon is really supporting the podcast. It's not putting money in my pocket. Another thing, if you're not a joiner and you don't want to join, another thing you can do that's easy and it costs nothing, you don't have to join anything, is just leave me a 3-star or better review on whatever podcast app you're listening to. Leaving positive reviews like that helps the podcast gain followers, and it helps get exposure. My goal is to get this podcast in as many ears as I possibly can. So if you don't want to join the Patreon, that's cool. I get it. I understand. But please support the podcast by giving some word of mouth. Tell your friends about it. It's a different kind of paranormal type podcast, you know. Let them know, hey, I listened to this guy and he has pretty good take on everything. Leave me a 3-star or better review. It always helps the podcast grow, especially word of mouth. I really, really, really appreciate that. So I hope that you enjoyed tonight's episode of ParaReality. The next episode is going to drop on July 18th, 2025 at 8 o'clock p.m. Central U.S. time. This is going to be part 2 of my summer series on Bigfoot. Now, this episode is going to feature all of the interviews that I gathered in May at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. And I got a lot of good stories for you, so you'll definitely want to not miss this episode. Does that make sense? You don't want to miss this episode. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, wow. Everybody, I hope that this podcast opens your minds up to new ways of thinking, expands your consciousness, and produces a change in the way you see the world. If you wish to change, you must lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe. Hope you have a great American Independence Day, July the 4th, tomorrow. Be safe, be careful, watch for those fireworks. Please, please, please do not drink and drive. It is a no-no. And if you drink and drive and get pulled over, you get whatever you got coming to you. So please be careful with the fireworks. Be careful with those kids. Don't drink and drive. Have a great weekend. Have a great holiday. And I will see you again in a couple of weeks.
If you wish to change, you must first lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe.